Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our podcast for working Muslim moms. Bismillah, I'm late again. Thank you so much for being here, joining us today. Today we will be talking about gentle parenting or not so gentle. Whatever works in your house. We definitely have different opinions about that with Norajan. So let's get into it. Norajan, tell me, what does gentle parenting means to you?
From what I gathered, errors in between, that gentle parenting ultimately means understanding your child. It is feelings based and is just giving them a lot of room for error to grow. So that's my initial thought of what gentle parenting is, and we can talk more about it as we later. Love you. So gentle parenting, after doing a lot of research and trial and error, to me fundamentally it just means taking the time to understand your child, understand and validate their feelings, giving boundaries lovingly, and sticking to them. That is like the core, in my opinion, of what gentle parenting is. What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard to believe in that idea because it has been evolving so much. Like when I first time got pregnant, and gentle parenting was very different than it is right now. The way it was circulated in social media and the way it was socialized was about constantly reaffirming your child's feelings. It was a very exhausting idea. It also was about not saying no to your child. It was not even saying be careful, but asking them like, what is your plan right now?
Yeah.
And now, in a time of Dr. Becky, right, like the idea of good inside, the gentle parenting has switched a little bit, and now we start talking about the accountability. We start talking about boundaries. I want to be very clear that, like, if we are looking into 2015s, gentle parenting looked very different than how it looks nowadays, right now. And of course, I'm all about boundaries and accountability and keeping with love and gentleness. And yet, I do believe that gentle parenting is evolving, but how it started, it was quite extreme. That was not helpful to our children.
So back then, I didn't even know what gentle parenting, I didn't even know it was a thing, right? Since I've been pregnant, when I was pregnant in 2021, the gentle parenting has been popping up. So doing some more research on that, and like for me, it took me a while, but I went down the rabbit hole. So, okay, what is this thing? Let's talk about it. Let's learn about it. And it was such a foreign idea to me because me coming from authoritarian, like I came from my parents who are authoritarian, right? Do as I say, don't question, don't ask why, do, obey blindly, right? Whereas when I did this research, it said, no, take the time to listen to your kid. Understand their development, like their developmental needs. Where are they? A 2-year-old's not going to understand. If you tell a 2-year-old no, of course they're going to cry, they're going to scream, and because they're not going to understand how to regulate their emotions. It takes a while, so it takes time. I started doing this research while I was pregnant. I was in the womb. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And so there was like these modules that I was taking because I paid $100 off of someone from Instagram who was like marketing or like teaching gentle parenting. And she was Muslim, by the way. And these modules were like, if you see a towel on the floor, don't assume that your child did this purposely. Assume, what did she say? You gotta assume the best intent, like give them the benefit of the doubt and ask them, like connect with them before you correct. And I said, okay, connecting before correcting. That does sound amazing because I was also a teacher. I did teach after school for a few years. And the notion of connecting before correcting was a big thing. I think, speaking for myself, growing up, there was a lot of, the parenting was very fear-based, very shame-based, and blame-based. So the shame, blame, and fear doesn't sound very good. So I'm telling myself, what am I going to do to take what I can from my childhood and leave what I want from my childhood and create something new for my kid. And gentle parenting was the gateway for me. And then of course I do agree some of the things like I did go down the rabbit hole. So I was a hardcore gentle parent. Okay, I never said I was never afraid of saying no. My kid she knows no. And I think you've heard me say that to her before, Lena Jen, one time at your house. She was like, Mommy, can I have a cookie? And I said, no. And she's like, okay. Like no fighting. But it took time to get there. The resilience to get to that point was a long one. That it was a long road to get there. So with the gentle parenting, the watch where your step is. What do you think the next? That is a little bit overkill. I think it's a little bit too much. But for me, I do believe in the let your kids do dangerous things carefully, which is also like
And
another
that's
gentle
not
parenting.
gentle parenting. Okay, I just
Don't
do
you
want to
think? I
clarify
don't
that.
know.
Right, well, again, right now it maybe is, right? Like, but we have to go to the originality of this idea of the gentle parenting. The people who kind of like moved away from gentle parenting, I think that's exactly what we're trying to say is that yes, connect before correct. Yes, do dangerous thing carefully. But all of those ideas did not originate in this gentle parenting as it was socialized like in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, right?
It
And now
evolved.
it has evolved into something that people who did move away from gentle parenting can agree, like take the accountability and then like if around and find out all of those things somehow became a part of gentle parenting. And I think what I'm trying to say, I am 100% in agreement in what how you parent your child, and gentle parenting evolved to the point where like I can 100% like stand by it and agree with it. And yet, I want to also be very clear that how it started, they have changed their direction so many times. And now we kind of came to this more logical and more medium, right? Like that space where, like, yes, we can agree now that children need consequences. We do not always need to affirm their feelings. This is where I think that the damage of gentle parenting, right, like that have social media has created, it created this unrealistic expectations of the mothers to constantly talk to their children, to constantly connect before they correct. And this is not realistic. I do believe into intuitive parenting. My children need love, affection, connection, snuggles, and they also need a nudge. They also need a push.
Mm-hmm.
Children do need boundaries. They really thrive in the boundaries and they don't feel safe. They actually feel quite unsafe and unregulated when they don't have boundaries. So now gentle parenting advocates for boundaries, and I'm very happy to see that. Yeah, before that, and gentle parenting advocates for boundaries again in this unrealistic way. Yes, there will be time where I will connect and create boundaries in a way that is gentle and loving. And there will be time where I will create boundaries in a different way, in a more stricter way. I really wanted to share that gentle parenting does not work for all the children. And I love what Dr. Becky came out with was this like highly sensitive child. It's actually what she says, and I'm not gonna quote myself, but I know that I lived through that. The highly sensitive children become even more dysregulated when you affirm their feelings. They become even more dysregulated when you gentle parent them constantly. There is time where you will be gentle parent, and then there is time when they in that very tender spot when they just like really react very deeply to everything that's happening around them in the world, and that's usually triggered by physical. We either haven't slept enough, didn't eat enough, there's some kind of social problems at school. But those triggers cannot be managed with this affirmation of they almost need us to be more firm with them so they feel safe. So they feel that, okay, this is my boundary. I cannot go out of it, and there is a parent who's gonna hold that for me. Like I can trust my parent to be that sturdy pilot, like Dr. Becky says, right? And I could, when I heard her saying that, I was like, yes, I came to it naturally. I started with gentle parenting and it wasn't working. And I was thinking, like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me that I'm doing everything what they say? I'm saying all the right things that they taught me, but it's still not working and I'm still struggling with my child. And when I learned that no, for this type of child who is highly sensitive, I need to be a sturdy pilot and not a softy, like you need to take on a different role. When I stepped into that different role, that I'm not your friend, but I'm your parent, things improved with my older one. Then I had my second one, Hakim John. My God, I can gentle parent him all day long, and he will listen and he will respond to all of the, gentle boundaries. all of those things. So I do believe it's not that mom that is struggling and listening right now, who was struggling just like me. This is not you. You are not the problem. You are trying your best to gentle parent. And this is just a type of ideology that doesn't work for your child, and it's okay.
Yeah, well, that's a lot. There's so much. Even Dr. Becky has moved away from the term gentle parenting and she moved to sturdy parenting.
Exactly.
So she herself has changed, this term. I do believe that gentle parenting gets a very bad reputation. Okay, people make fun of it online. It's the butt of jokes, like in the mom world, right? I think there's a huge difference between being permissive and being a sturdy parent. Okay, so you have the permissive parent. So you have these videos of kids, that you see on Instagram, parents filming their kids having a meltdown, breaking things. And then there's comments like, well, see, this is where gentle parenting takes you. No, that's not parenting at all, sir. You're not parenting your kid at all. Your kid's having a very hard time. You're choosing to film this instead of regulating your kid, figuring out what's wrong, calm down the situation, and wrap it up. What's going on, right? What I'm saying is I'm not like, when I say gentle parenting, I'm just saying it because it's like an umbrella term, but I do like to interchange it with conscious parenting, which is a little bit different. Conscious parenting is like you reparent yourself because you understand your triggers, right? Understand your triggers because your kid, you have an inner child that needs a lot of healing, and you have a child that you're trying to break cycles with your kid who is triggering the hell out of you, right?
Exactly.
So how are you going to parent them? How are you going to parent them?
Norajan, it's so good what you just saying right now. I don't think that gentle parenting as of today is permissive parenting. But I do believe that when people are very permissive or when people are slapping their children, those are two extremes of where people are not able to regulate themselves, right? Something is triggering you in your child. So you are so cuddly and so like permissive towards them when they are in the middle of their crisis, right? I really, please do not record your children when they're in the middle of the crisis. This is not okay. I will never stand by it. And when people are cuddling their children in the middle of the crisis, and when they're hitting their children in the middle of the crisis, those are two the same reaction of dysregulated adult, right? Because they cannot step into the adult role. What is your adult role when your children are dysregulated? Is first of all, yes, regulate yourself. Then if it's your child, if it depends on your child, right? One child will need, and this is what intuitive parenting is coming after the conscious parenting. Conscious parenting, regulate yourself. Intuitive parenting, okay, now when I'm regulated, what does my child need at this point? There are children who will need a sturdiness, and there are children who will need a connection. I'm not advocating for cuddling and I'm not advocating for hitting. I'm advocating for sturdiness or gentleness, right? In a moment of crisis, there's two different children. They will definitely need a different guidance from you as an adult. But you need to be adult first before you can guide your children.
Yes. And I do think for the parents, or, I guess, that tend to give in to their kids' demands and tantrums and needs, it's because they themselves cannot handle their kid whining. Because they themselves, when they were a child, when they had a need, their parent didn't give it to them. Their parent instead would yell at them, would neglect them, would consider them a nuisance, right? Get out of my face. I can't deal with you right now, right? So then us as parents, like, we're trying to break some cycles here, but if we need to be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Your kid's having a hard time because, for example, their ice cream melted, right? Or this happened to me, to my kid. I gave her some ice cream. We got her ice cream cone. She's jumping around, having a good time. I said, Amira, you better sit down. You're gonna drop the ice cream. Didn't listen to me. Okay. What happens next, Lena? It dropped down. Complete, utter meltdown. And she's looking at me like I'm gonna go get her another ice cream. Oh, sorry, I'm not gonna get you another ice cream. That's what happens when you don't listen, and that's just a natural consequence. And it's also, if I want to find out, and it's also gentle parenting. And it's also conscious parenting because I'm not taking that personally. I'm not taking her not listening to me personally. She's not purposely trying to hurt me by not listening to me. She's just being a kid. but this is how you're going to learn. So I'm sorry, no, you will not be getting another ice cream.
Yeah.
I know you're upset. I will give you a hug. I love you no matter what, but you're not going to be getting another ice cream because you have to learn. What happens next time we get an ice cream? She sits her butt down.
One of the probably most important lessons that I learned as a parent, because I became parent quite young, right? I know it wasn't super young, and yet I felt young in my soul, in my heart, in my mind.
And you were alone. You were the only parent that you knew.
And I think I related to my child in a different way. The best lesson that I have learned through parenting is that their reactions or their behavior is not a reflection of me or who I am or my parenting. They are just being a child. That, like, most of the behaviors that I are going through and we're trying to fix, quote unquote, with gentle parenting, with boundaries and all of those things, most of the behaviors that they're going through are just phases, and it's very normal phases that children need to go through to learn boundaries, right? They go through tantrums to actually naturally learn boundaries, because not we as a parents step in and create those boundaries for them, and they will continue to tantrum and push on the walls until they feel like, okay, this is enough space for me, this is safe, and like I know I tested my parent to be the parent. And for as long as I was not a parent and I was actually maybe reacting or relating to him in a different way, like wanted to be a friend more than a parent. And once I learned my lesson that no, my role is very different and it's very important, and I was able to separate my feelings or from his behaviors, my relationships with my child improved dramatically. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I do need to say that I'm not always like, oh, honey, you're having a hard time, right? There have been moments where I snap because I am pissed off. Or on the whole other end of the spectrum, I became permissive because I'm too tired. I didn't want to hear it. We're on a spectrum in life, where sometimes we're going to be very permissive. Sometimes we're going to be very strict. Sometimes we're going to be harsh. Sometimes we're going to be just loving. But I think as long as we have a consistency, like we're consistent, like our kids have an idea of like how mommy and daddy are or how the home is, like we give them an actual space that they feel safe. The one-offs of us being pissed off or of us, being permissive, it's not going to phase them. Like,
this is where my whole beef with gentle parenting started, and I think I touched upon it in the beginning, that it's very unhealthy expectation from the parents to always be this way. And what we see on Instagram is unhealthy for the mother, because mother thinks that she is somehow failing. The consistency matters, and time to time when we have failed to live up to our expectations as we should be as a parents will not traumatize our children. Coming from a difficult background, I know for a fact that the small things do not traumatize a child. It's the big things that do. If you have created a safe household in your house, if you have created the safety, consistency for your children, then one time when you have your mommy tantrum, or like once in a while when you have all of us have mommy tantrums. All of those Instagram mamas, no matter how perfect they look on the Instagram, they have mommy tantrums. Like they look different for each mom. Some of them are mom rage. Some of them are like mom depression when we don't get out of the bed. Whatever that is, we have in our mom tantrums, and they will not traumatize our children. What will traumatize your children if you're doing that consistently, or if there is some unsafety in the household, like drugs, physical abuse, and all of those things, then yes, like I can understand that this will traumatize your child. However, most of the mothers and most of the parents are living in this reality that they are good parents, but they don't believe that they are, because this, like, again, this Instagram, social media idea of what the perfect parenting should look like. Go ahead, I would love to hear.
I want to debunk the idea that you as a mom, like in general, right? Moms are not good. I promise you, if you provide a safe space for your kid, there's consistency and they feel safe, and loved. I guarantee you that all the pressure you put on yourself, feeling that you're not enough, you're not adequate, you need to do more, your kids do not feel that way. They don't. They love you. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of my parenting right now. I think if I don't even know, I'm gonna get a little bit emotional. I think what we're seeing, the fruits of our labor, the fruits of our hard work, of the consistency, it's growing, and I can see it blooming, and we just need it to continue. And I really, truly, truly believe that if it starts now, and it doesn't have to be like strict, gentle parenting, it could just be the parenting that you know. You don't have to follow anyone. You can just follow your own instincts, but also understand child development and understand their brain, so you don't take things personally. Your kids are going to be fine. They're going to be, they don't need the textbook gentle parenting or textbook conscious parenting. They just need someone who is, has, I guess, like, who's conscious enough
This is
to understand
something very
themselves, their own
spiritual,
triggers,
but
and
I do
understand their
believe
kid. That's
that
all.
there
That's all
is
the
a
kid needs.
reason
Kids,
why
they need,
Allah subhanahu wa
we
ta'ala
mess up
put
too as
you
parents.
as a
Kids would
mom with
appreciate
your
an apology
child.
when a
That there
parent
is a
messes up.
reason for that. Because looking back even into my childhood, and those difficult situations shaped me into the person who I am today. I needed that lesson that happened to me in my childhood to carry that lesson into my adult experiences so I can relate to life in a certain way. You have to believe in that. And comes from tawakkul, right? Like trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divine plan. When we are having a tantrum, it doesn't mean that, okay, I'm just gonna keep on having mommy tantrums all the time and not ever gonna do anything about it. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you are trying your best to be the best parent you can be, and you still have those moments where things do not go the way that you want it to be, and you're having your mommy tantrum, your child, it meant to be for your child to learn this lesson through those experiences. There are certain temperaments and characteristics of our personalities that divinely was planned to be placed with our children so they can experience the life as it's meant to be by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan. I don't know if it was too spiritual or too mystical. And yet, when I have connected to this wisdom of our religion, I felt so much better. The guilt meant to drive me to become a better person, a better parent, but it wasn't eating me alive anymore. I was able to just trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan, that even though it didn't went the way that like I imagined it to be, I wanted to be, that it still was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan and the lesson that my child needed to learn. Yet something that you said very important is about repair, right? Like you touched upon it, that when we do something wrong, we need to apologize. My children will tell you that I apologize often. So I think the repair matters so much.
I will apologize to her. I I don't think I ever got an apology. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it hurt. It hurts when you're a kid and your feelings get brushed under the rug. It's just it hurts. There's a saying in Morocco, something like, if you get like if a kid gets a spanking or something, or if they hurt themselves, they'll say, "Tinsa." You're gonna grow up and you'll forget about it. That's it. That's all you have to say. You're gonna go up and think about and forget about it. You got a spanking, but you're gonna go up and forget about it. No, I'm sorry. No, I love my Moroccan culture, but I don't agree with that. It's like such a cultural thing to dismiss the feelings of uncomfortableness, of hurt. It just, that's how it creates like people that are not in tune with their own feelings later
I
down
wanted
the
to
line.
bring just one
So
perspective,
no,
like
I
counter
will make sure my
perspective.
kid is
I
okay,
wonder
and I
if
will apologize
our
if something is wrong.
childhood was very different and the childhood of our parents and grandparents was different. Their realities was different in a way that they needed to teach their children to be sturdy and forget about it, because there was no other alternative. The life was tough. They needed to teach their children to be very resilient to the life that was very difficult. Western world did not create a gentle parenting, right? They do not own gentle parenting. They do not have a right to come to different cultures and teach them how to grow their children, because those children live in a different realities. Guess what? A child in Gaza will need this wisdom that you just said, right? They need to learn. It's so painful and it's heartbreaking for us as parents of children who grew up in constant safety and comfort to speak about it. And yet, unfortunately, those children need that lesson because they will go through very hard life, or they at least hopefully their life will become better. Yalla, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give health and happiness and safety to all the children in the world. And unfortunately, they have to learn this lesson. So this brings me to one of the topics that I wanted to talk about, that traditional parenting, intuitive parenting, Islamic parenting is gentle, is loving, and maybe that love showed through those kind of lessons that you just said, like, forget about it, grow the thicker skin, because your parents know that they're gonna let you go into that reality when you grow up where you need that thicker skin, that you will need to forget about things because there's no other choice. And yet it doesn't mean that our parents did not do a good job. They didn't have the amount of literature, they didn't have an amount of the research, the access to information that we have. Or and time. I remember my parents working all the time. My mom used to work 3 jobs. Like the last thing I would do, even right now, if I would be working 3 jobs, guess what? Forget about connecting with my child. Go to sleep, I told you. Yeah, eat your freaking food, the one out of your bananas. You are going to eat what I'm giving you. So I do believe in forgiveness towards your parents, and also there's empathy towards them, what they went through. So we don't carry this. We can still create something different that we want for our children and love and forgive our parents, as truly they have done nothing wrong. I don't even think like there is something to forgive them for. They did the best they could in the circumstances that they knew. I came to that space where only gratitude has left. Even though there was a lot of pain, I was able to forgive the pain and just leave the gratitude. Just as like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us how to relate to our parents. The freedom came only with this understanding of forgiveness of what have happened and trust in that was Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala divine plan to create the circumstances that I'm in right now.
SubhanAllah, that was very well said. I do think parenting does change throughout the years. I mean, it already changed in the last 10 years for you, right? And of course, our parents did do the best that they can with the information that they had at the time. I also do believe that to be like a gentle parent or a conscious parent, that require a lot of privilege. I guess like because I'm in my own household and I have the one kid, right? I think it'll be different if I had more than one. This is what works for us.
You cannot teach resilience without a hard time. Therefore, I'm pretty sure that it's almost a sign of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when there is difficult situations in families, because it teaches our children how, first of all, they're observing how we navigate in those challenges, right? And at the same time, they are practicing how to navigate and how to utilize the tools for resiliency. You only can train this muscle. You cannot think about it. You cannot teach it. You can only train it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We'll break it down, but we'll make it nice and digestible for everyone. Please follow us, okay? Follow us on Instagram, follow us and subscribe on YouTube. Come on.
We're building
Salam
this
alaikum.
community of working mothers to come talk about the issues that worry us, but also support each other. So please join us in this community by joining us on Instagram and joining us on YouTube as well.